The lights above Blackwater. Chapter 1. The night the sky opened. The first thing Daniel Mercer remembered was the sound. Not a voice. Not an engine. Not even thunder. It was a low vibration, almost too deep to hear, that seemed to come from inside his bones. He woke at 2:17 in the morning. At least, that was what the clock beside his bed said. Daniel lay perfectly still beneath the blankets, staring into the darkness of his bedroom. The house was quiet. Too quiet. His wife, Emily, was asleep beside him. Outside, somewhere beyond the curtains, crickets had stopped chirping. Daniel listened. There it was again. The vibration faded. He sat up. Emily stirred. "What is it?" she whispered. "I don't know." He got out of bed and walked toward the window. The curtains were open just enough to reveal a slice of sky. At first he saw nothing. Then something moved. 3 white lights appeared over the tree line. They weren't aircraft lights. They weren't stars. They were too bright. Too perfectly arranged. 3 points of light formed a triangle. Daniel stared. The triangle stopped. There was no gradual deceleration. One moment it was moving. The next it was completely still. Daniel's mouth went dry. "Emily." She sat up. "What?" "Look." She came to the window. The lights remained motionless above the trees. Then the center of the triangle became red. Emily grabbed Daniel's arm. "What is that?" "I don't know." The red light pulsed once, twice, 3 times. Daniel suddenly felt pressure in his ears. The room tilted. He reached for the wall. "Daniel!" The vibration returned. Only this time it wasn't outside. It was everywhere. The window glass trembled. The floorboards shook. Emily screamed. Then every light in the house came on at once. And Daniel saw something standing in the backyard. A figure. Tall, thin, completely motionless, watching the house. Daniel blinked. The figure was gone. Then the world went white. Chapter 2, 2:17. Daniel woke on the floor. Morning sunlight came through the curtains. Emily was screaming. "Daniel!" He rolled over. "What happened?" She was standing beside the bed. Her face was pale. "I thought you were dead." "What?" "You were on the floor." Daniel pushed himself upright. His head hurt. His nose was bleeding. He wiped it with his hand and stared at the blood. "What time is it?" Emily looked at the clock. 7:23. Daniel remembered the lights, the figure, the vibration. Then nothing. He stood. Something fell from his shirt. A small piece of metal. It landed on the carpet. Daniel stared at it. It was about the size of a grain of rice. Black. Smooth. Perfectly round. "What is that?" "I don't know." He picked it up. The moment his fingers touched it, a sharp pain shot through his hand. He dropped it. That afternoon, Daniel drove to work. He told himself it had been a strange dream. Stress. Exhaustion. Maybe he'd fallen asleep watching television. But when he arrived at the office, his coworker Marcus looked at him strangely. "You okay?" "Yeah." "You look terrible." Daniel laughed. "Didn't sleep much." Marcus hesitated. "Funny." "What?" "I didn't either." Daniel looked at him. Marcus leaned closer. "Did you see the lights?" Daniel froze. "What lights?" "The ones over Blackwater." Daniel said nothing. Marcus lowered his voice. 3 lights. Triangle. Daniel felt the blood drain from his face. "How many people saw them?" Marcus shrugged. "Everyone on the north side, probably." "Did anyone get video?" Phones stopped working. Daniel stared at him. All of them. Mine did. Marcus reached into his pocket. My wife said something else happened. What? She said our clocks all stopped. Daniel remembered his bedroom clock. 2:17. Marcus looked directly at him. How long did yours stop? Daniel didn't answer. Marcus whispered. 7 minutes. Chapter 3: The Missing Hour. The nightmares started 3 nights later. Daniel dreamed he was standing in a field. There was no moon. No stars. Only darkness. He could hear water dripping. Drip. 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 Someone was standing behind him. He could feel its presence. Daniel tried to turn. He couldn't. His body wouldn't move. Something touched the back of his neck. Then a voice whispered, "Daniel." He woke screaming. Emily was beside him. "It's okay." Daniel was sweating. "I heard my name." "You were dreaming." "No." He looked toward the bedroom door. "I heard it." Emily turned on the lamp. Daniel looked at the clock. 2:17. Again. He got out of bed. The hallway was dark. He walked toward the kitchen, then stopped. The back door was open. Daniel stared at it. He distinctly remembered locking it. He crossed the room. The grass outside was wet with dew. Bare footprints led from the back door into the yard. Daniel stared at them. They were his footprints. But they didn't lead toward the house. They led away from it. He followed them. Across the yard. Through the trees. Down toward the old road. The footprints continued for nearly half a mile. Then they stopped. In the middle of the road. Daniel stood there barefoot in his pajamas. He looked up. 3 lights appeared between the trees. Triangle. White. Silent. Daniel couldn't move. The lights descended. Not quickly. Not slowly. They simply became closer. 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 Until the entire forest was illuminated. Daniel saw the object. It was enormous. A dark shape hovering above the trees. It wasn't a disc. It wasn't a triangle. It looked almost biological, like something that had grown rather than been built. Daniel tried to scream. Nothing came out. A blue light appeared beneath it, and the forest disappeared. Chapter 4: The Room Without Corners. Daniel opened his eyes. He was lying on a table. There were no restraints. He couldn't move anyway. The room was white. But there were no walls. No corners. No visible ceiling. The space seemed to curve away from him. Something stood nearby. Daniel tried to focus. It was tall. Extremely thin. Its arms hung almost to its knees. The skin was gray. Not gray like human skin. Gray like wet stone. Its head was enormous. The eyes were black. Completely black. No pupils. No whites. Nothing. Daniel heard a voice. Not through his ears. Inside his head. You have been here before. No. The creature tilted its head. You do not remember. I've never seen you. The creature placed one long finger against Daniel's forehead. Pain exploded through his skull. Images appeared. Daniel as a child. Standing in his childhood bedroom. 6 years old. Watching something outside his window. A triangle of lights. Then another memory. Daniel at 10. Running through the woods. Something following him. Another. Daniel at 17. Waking beside a road. Blood on his shirt. Another. Daniel at 32. Standing in his backyard. Looking up. The memories kept coming. Dozens. Hundreds. Daniel screamed. I don't remember any of this. The creature stared at him. That is why we choose you. Why? Silence. Then, because you forget. A second figure appeared. Then a third. They surrounded the table. One carried something metallic. A small device. It was placed against Daniel's chest. He felt pressure. Then cold. The device sank beneath his skin. Daniel screamed. The room vanished. Chapter 5: The Marks. Emily found Daniel standing in the backyard at sunrise. He was barefoot. His pajamas were covered in mud. He was staring at the sky. She ran toward him. Daniel! He turned. His eyes were empty. Where have you been? He looked down at himself. I don't know. Emily began crying. Don't do this. What? You keep disappearing. Daniel stared at her. What are you talking about? She pulled out her phone. There were photographs. Daniel sleeping. Daniel walking through the house. Daniel standing in the backyard. Daniel opening the front door at 2:17 every morning. Then Emily showed him the last photograph. Daniel was standing in the middle of the road, looking upward. And above him was the triangle. Daniel stared at the image. Who took this? You did. What? Emily pointed to the timestamp. Your phone took it. Daniel felt sick. He looked at his chest. There was a bruise beneath his shirt, perfectly circular. Around it were 3 tiny puncture marks. He touched them. The pain came immediately, and suddenly he remembered something. A voice. A sentence. They are not taking you. Daniel froze. Emily noticed. What? Daniel looked at her. They aren't taking me. Who? The things. What are they doing? Daniel's expression changed. He whispered. They're putting something inside me. Chapter 6: Blackwater. Daniel drove to Blackwater the next morning. It was an abandoned military installation hidden deep in the mountains. He had never been there before. At least he thought he hadn't. But when he arrived, he knew exactly where to go. He followed a dirt road through the trees, past the collapsed guard tower, past a concrete bunker. Then he stopped. A steel door was hidden beneath vines. Daniel entered a combination into the keypad. He didn't know how he knew it. The door opened. Inside were rows of filing cabinets. Hundreds. Maybe thousands. Daniel pulled one open. The files were old. Very old. Some were dated from the 1950s. Others from the 1960s. He found photographs. People standing beside strange lights. Children reporting missing time. Farmers waking in fields. Military pilots describing objects that moved faster than anything known to exist. Then Daniel found a file with his name. Mercer Daniel. He opened it. The first page contained a photograph. Daniel at 6 years old. Standing beside a government vehicle. Behind him were 3 men in dark suits. And above them, the triangle. Daniel dropped the folder. No. He flipped through the pages. There were photographs of him at 10, 14, 17, 22, 30. Every few years. Always the same lights. Always the same missing time. Then he reached the final page. There was a handwritten note. Subject does not retain memory between events. Below it. This may be intentional. Daniel stared. Then he heard footsteps. Someone was coming down the corridor. He turned. A man stood in the doorway. Older. White hair. Military jacket. Daniel recognized him. The man had been in the photograph. You finally remembered. Daniel backed away. Who are you? My name is Dr. Elias Voss. What is this place? The beginning. Beginning of what? Voss looked toward the ceiling. They aren't visitors, Daniel. Then what are they? Voss answered quietly. We don't know. A deep vibration rolled through the bunker. The lights flickered. Voss closed his eyes. Oh God! What? It's early. What is? Voss looked at Daniel. The next abduction. Chapter 7. The People in the Sky. The bunker shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Voss grabbed Daniel's arm. We have to leave. Why? Because they know you're here. Who? Voss didn't answer. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the corridor. Then something appeared at the end. Pale face. Floating in the darkness. Daniel screamed. Voss fired a handgun. The bullets passed through it. The face disappeared. A second later, the bunker filled with white light. Daniel felt himself rising. His feet left the floor. Voss grabbed his waist. Don't look at it. Daniel looked anyway. Above them, the ceiling was gone. Not broken. Gone. The night sky was visible, and the object hovered directly above the bunker. It was enormous. Thousands of feet across. Lights moved across its surface like stars beneath black water. Daniel heard voices. Hundreds of them. Thousands. All whispering inside his head. Daniel. He covered his ears. Stop. Daniel. Then another voice spoke. Different. Human. A woman's voice. Daniel, listen to me. He looked around. A woman stood beside Voss. She was crying. Who are you? She smiled sadly. I'm your sister. Daniel stared. I don't have a sister. I know. She reached toward him. You don't remember her either. Daniel's heart stopped. The woman whispered. They took me first. Then the lights above them changed. The entire sky turned red. And Daniel finally understood. The abductions weren't random. They were connected. Families. Generations. People had been taken for decades. Not for experiments. Not for examination. For something much worse. They were being prepared. Chapter 8. The Message. Daniel woke in his bedroom. Emily was asleep beside him. He checked the clock. 2:18. Only 1 minute had passed. He sat up. There was something in his hand. A small black sphere. He stared at it. Then the sphere opened. A beam of light projected into the darkness. Images appeared. Cities. Millions of people looking upward. Airplanes falling from the sky. Power grids going dark. Crowds running through streets. Then the image changed. Earth appeared from space. A second moon moved into orbit. Then another. Then hundreds. Daniel watched in horror. The final image showed the Earth surrounded by enormous black objects. A message appeared. Not words. A symbol. 3 circles intersecting. Daniel suddenly remembered the room without corners. The creature. The device in his chest. And the sentence. You have been here before. Daniel looked toward Emily. She was still sleeping. He touched her shoulder. She didn't move. Emily? Nothing. He shook her. Her eyes opened. But they weren't her eyes. They were completely black. She smiled. Daniel. He stumbled backward. His wife sat up. Her mouth opened. A voice came from somewhere deep inside her. We are almost ready. Daniel ran for the door. Outside, every house on the street had its lights on. Every person was standing in their front yard. Every face was turned toward the sky. And above Blackwater, the triangle had returned. Only this time there were hundreds of them. Daniel looked upward. The deepest vibration he had ever heard rolled across the world. Then every person on the street spoke at exactly the same time. Daniel. He fell to his knees. The sky opened. And something enormous began coming through. Epilogue. The morning after. At 6:42 a.m., the world lost power. For 11 minutes, Every satellite stopped transmitting. Every aircraft lost navigation. Every digital clock stopped, and millions of people reported seeing the same thing. 3 lights. A triangle. Hovering above the horizon. When the power returned, most people remembered nothing. They went to work. They made coffee. They checked their phones. They complained about the outage. But some people remembered. Daniel Mercer was one of them. He disappeared that morning. So did his wife. Authorities found their house unlocked. Their car remained in the driveway. Their phones were on the kitchen table. And in the backyard, investigators discovered something strange. A perfect circle of dead grass. At its center was a single object. A small black sphere. The government took it within an hour. The public was told nothing. But one investigator secretly photographed it before it disappeared. Years later, that photograph would surface online. Most people would call it fake. Some would call it proof. But there was one detail nobody could explain. Written on the sphere in letters less than a millimeter high were 4 words. We have been watching. And beneath them was a date. Not yesterday. Not today. Not tomorrow. It was a date from 37 years in the future.